Hi, Cortland Insider, Bill here again. We're at the old site of the Union Carbide. They tore the building down, I think around 20 years ago, and that all the chemicals that were produced here, again, I've been around for 64 years, so I know the area really well. For newcomers, this just looks like a big lot. But I'm going to tell you, all the water that you've seen from down there comes and is all collected from up in this area. It seeps its way down until it catches the main river. There's a drain just over here on the other side of, through where that storage unit is. It goes from there and it winds itself down through around behind. And there's all factories, as you can see, still up in there and up in the other end. This was the industrial part of Lindsay, one of them. So all these factories way back 50, 60, 70 years ago, they manufactured used pretty hazardous chemicals to manufacture. And it all ended up, because back then they used the river, and they still use the river as a dump site to dispose of stuff. So what you're seeing here is, over 20 years, there's not a tree that's grown up other than these tough old girls over here. They survived, but they would have been on the far side of the plant. The plant was huge. Like, I mean, you're talking huge, right? And that employed a lot of the people in town. In fact, my wife's father worked here. He retired, and in less than 6 months, he had a brain aneurysm and passed. Like they said back then, you thought, oh, just normal. Now we've learned that a lot of this is the environment that they worked in over the years, working with these toxic chemicals. So this is what's really led us to really be concerned about what all's gone into that water, what's in that water right now, and what are you drinking every time you turn your tap on to get Lindsay water.
The other thing you're trying to do, if I may add, is you're trying to show that the old archaic drainage system runs through neighborhoods where hundreds of people live to get down to be dumped into the river for people to consume and play in.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, you could tell I've come in here in the middle of summer when it's dry, and that water is still running out of the ground. So, I mean, it's coming from not only surface water, it's coming from beneath. And you know what they say, whatever you bury, it comes out somewhere, right? And that's the main concern we've got, that there's nobody testing, and they don't want you to test, I believe, okay, to see what really is in that water that you're drinking every day. For the Cortland Insider, Bill. Cortland Insider again, Bill reporting. We're now up at the site, another site where there's a big crossing that where, you know, the water we showed you down below, that mess that's coming out. Well, this is where it continues from. And look at all that down there going. Not only that, when you turn this way and you look, well, there's a housing complex built by the city of Corth Lakes, right? Right underneath it, they put a bridge so that they could keep the water flowing. Now, this originates from the old carbide facility up behind there. So can you imagine all the time that the carbide was there and all the chemicals, the toxic chemicals, cancer-causing chemicals that they used could have ended up in this water, you know, along with all the other manufacturing plants up in that end. That's the industrial end of the town. So there was plants up there that, I mean, the stuff they used would cause cancer if you sucked it in, just breathed it, right? 20 years, 30 years down the road, you've got lung cancer, you've got cancer in every part of your body, you know? I just find this amazing. Anyways, he's all gone, but it's all underground still, leaching. Afternoon, members and concerned taxpayers. I'm Bill.
I'm Doug.
Well, we just left City Hall. They had a planning meeting. It was really interesting to see that the members that had retired supposedly from council and cried at the inauguration and whatnot, they're back in on the planning committee. Mr. O'Reilly, he's a member now of the planning committee, and chair is Andrew Vail. And we left there with I think the conclusion that they're only interested in one thing, eh, Doug?
Yeah. What appears so, Ed?
Money. And that's the bad side about all this.
Development and money.
They talked about the new developments that are coming on stream, and they approved and made recommendations to the council to move them along. There was no talk about sanitary issues or sewage capacity or water capacity that would be needed. None of that stuff, hey, Doug?
No.
They were more concerned that we can now start collecting tax revenues on those lots that have been built on from the developers, which was really pretty interesting again.
Yes.
So we're standing here at one of the biggest outlets that was created, I believe, since Lindsay was even born. If you look up here, this water comes all the way from Highway 36. It flows out of where the old Union Carbide plant used to be, the most toxic plant in all of City of Kawartha Lakes. Number of other plants were up there too. So all of their waste, we'll call it, ended up in this here river. Because it's a river, Doug, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Man, I could get on my canoe and start at the top end and come right down out and end up out here in the river. Unbelievable, right? Just unbelievable. Just look at all that settlement being stirred up in the bottom down there, right, Doug?
Yes, very much so.
I mean, it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Just goes into the river without any settling pond.
Yeah, I mean, we got to really thank Mother Nature for giving us all that rain last night, because it's allowed us, because that's what they talked about in there, that now the province has given all the authority to the municipality on environmental issues and environmental impact, that they don't have to have the province give them the permission to do this. They do it now themselves. So again, I'm kind of shocked in a way that they never really even acknowledged Bill 23, that supposedly they were all so concerned about that the impact it would have on their ability to control and do what they've been doing for the last 20, 30 years in City Hall. I don't know. I don't know whether, what it's going to take to actually wake these people up, that the number one priority is our environment and the fact that we have clean, accessible drinking water.
For the future.
For now, even.
For the future.
I honestly believe if they had the chlorine levels cut back, you couldn't even bathe your dog in this water. It would be that toxic, right? Knowing all the factories that were here, all in Lindsay for all that length of time, this is really quite concerning. Really is. Hopefully, the people that are watching our videos wake up and realize they're drinking this water. Sure, you put a bit of chlorine in it, but what else is in the water? We already know there's sewage. We know there's toxic chemicals. We know there's stuff in there that shouldn't be there, that it's been contributed over 100 years. And it just goes from here out into the lake. It kills off the fish. It does an awful lot of damage to our environment. And we've got Pat Warren, that's the environmental champion on the planning committee. And not once did she say, what's the impact of all this development to the environment? She never asked the staff. She never asked any questions of the people that are coming to do the developments, like the gentleman over on Sturgeon Lake, I believe, over at there. Doug, could you tell our members what you got up and asked?
I asked the environmental impact and where the water was going from the roads, and if there was settling ponds. And I asked also if there was shoreline protection and what engineering there was towards that. There was a little bit of discussion, but not much towards that.
Well, their position was, it'll all get dealt with. Don't worry about it. We got to move the project ahead, which we're not disputing. Okay, we do need growth within the city, but it's got to be the kind of growth that protects our environment and protects our water and our lakes and our rivers and our shorelines. And definitely, nobody's been concerned about this for the past 100 years. And it looks like nobody's concerned about it for the next 100 years. For Kawartha Insider, it's Bill.
And Doug.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.